Thank you for joining us on Acnn News on the Hour. Here are the stories we are tracking right now. Anglican Diocese of Niger West seeks intervention. Professor Timothy Adebayo, a former Deputy Vice Chancellor of Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomoso, as his duty as Vice Chancellor of Ajayi Crowther University, Oyo. Anglican Church of Uganda launches a campaign dubbed Free Places of Worship. Plus, the Nigerian Minister of Education announces graduates and students to get automatic employment and stipends. And now the news in details. The Archbishop of Ecclesiastical Province of Lagos and Bishop of Remo has said that the blessing of divine provision is for every child of God. Archbishop Fagbe made this known in his words of exhortation for Christians, where he stated that in the original plan, purpose, there is assurance of divine provision. Hence, no matter the situation one finds himself or herself as a believer, the blessings of God in your life cannot be annulled. Everyone to know that their existence in the land of the living is not by accident.
The assurance that when we were created by God originally, God created us for blessings. And so, regardless of what individuals have found themselves to be at any given point in time, the blessings of God upon their lives cannot be annulled. Because I know, as a child of God, you must know that God has a purpose for creating you. The first thing is that God promised He's going to bless your water and He's going to bless your bread. What does that mean? The purpose of God for your life is that you will not lack bread on your table. The blessings of God concerning even abundant provision is being spoken here.
It has been reported that massive flooding has devastated several communities in Anambra East, rendering many people homeless. The communities most hit by the flooding include Umuoba, Anam, and Aguleri Otu, where many were not only rendered homeless, but also lost their means of livelihood. Some of the victims of this devastation, or rather devastation, are Anglican clergymen and members of their families who have been laboring and attending to the local communities for years. The Bishop of the Diocese, through the Office of the Diocesan Protocol, Venerable Emmanuel Onovo, is therefore calling on the necessary government agencies, especially the federal government, to come to its aid to enable it to resettle those affected by the floods. Emphasizing the horrible situation of the clergymen, most of who are not from the area, the protocol pleaded for an urgent government action to reduce their suffering. In Edo State, the wife of the Bishop of Esako Diocese and President of the Diocesan Women Organization, Mrs. Olorufemi, has charged the women of the diocese and Christian faithful worldwide to strive for the eternal crown of glory. Mrs. Olorufemi gave this timely admonition during the ceremonial opening and delivery of her presidential address at the 14th Annual Women Conference of the Diocese, held at All Saints Cathedral, Auchi, which meditated on the theme, Striving for a Crown, coined from 1 Corinthians 9:24-26, where she stated that if any Christian fails to arrive at the feet of Jesus Christ, then he or she has failed in his or her earthly pilgrimage as a believer. The conference attracted a mammoth crowd of women from the 17 archdeaconries and church dignitaries. Women President, Mrs. Ufuoma Odutemu, and other diocesan presidents from the province, as well as Right Reverend and Dame Peter Onekpe, retired, and the pioneer president of the Diocesan Women Organization, Mrs. Esther Bada, from Akoko Edo Diocese, Ondo State, and ended in a Thanksgiving service where the diocesan bishop, the Right Reverend Felix Olorufemi, urged the women to be a wholesome example in their private and public lives. And now crossing over to Abuja, the Church of the Epiphany Area 11 Gariki Abuja Anglican Communion organized a two-day marriage seminar for both married and single members of the church. Bearing in mind that so many homes are breaking up through divorce and some homes experiencing different kinds of domestic violence, SNN News correspondent Uzubechi Frank was there and has the details.
The Church of the Epiphany Area 11 Gariki Abuja organized a two-day marriage seminar with the theme Godly Foundation for Christian Friendship, Courtship and Marriage. The seminar was attended by both married and single members of the church, together with some invited persons. The speakers for the seminar were the Venerable Titus and Mrs. Adeboye and Venerable Opioma and Mrs. Omozurumba, who did justice to the theme of the seminar.
Anglican Church will join the man and his wife, but they will never sit over their divorce. So, it is for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. That is the other implication.
That is why we advise you young people, find true friendship in those who fear the Lord, who know Christ, and are afraid of doing anything wrong to their neighbor. Because true love does not harm his neighbor.
The program put together is to help Christian families to remain peaceful, blissful and stable even in trying times.
We are organizing this program so we can let people understand the principles of Christian marriage, so people will know what they should know, what the Bible teaches about Christian marriage. And when that happens, it will help to heal hurting relationships, hurting families and marriages that are broken.
I believe that all those who were able to make it should be able to know that as Christians, when you are getting into any relationship, you should learn to depend on the Lord and make it your aim to walk wholly with the Lord. And as you depend on Him, you rely on His guidance, and whatever He leads you, you are ready to do.
At the end of the program, some participants shared with us lessons learned in the seminar.
It's been very educative. It has been an eye-opener. We had a series of questions, and one particular question was on the issue of domestic violence. And it was very important to note that at least the church is aware of this issue, and the church stands by it that the issue of domestic violence is not something that should be condoned. So it's good to know that the church has its own standard and not just going for the way the world sees it, as maybe going straight into divorce because of something that's happened, but trying to see how they can mend the home and then put it in the right path again.
It was a very timely program organized by the church. And then because the truth is that, the subject matter being that of, marriage relationships, that is pre and, when you are into marriage too. So I think we've learned so much here today, because a lot of the questions agitating the minds of both young ones, that's those aspiring to go into that institution, and those who are already there, I think a lot of the questions came out and were properly addressed. So I think from what has transpired within these 2 days, we have been better equipped to be able to handle some of these issues better, both domestically and those who are just, getting into new relationships.
In Abuja, Uzubechi Frank reporting for SNN News.
On the call for restructuring, the Anglican Diocese of Amaechi, the Bishop, the Right Reverend Ephraim Ikako, has expressed dismay at the level of conformity and compromise among Christians today, contrary to biblical injunctions. These, according to him, inform the choice of the synod theme. The bishop stated that Christians' lifestyle should be the model and model for the society at large. Speaking on challenges facing the country, even as she celebrates 60th independence anniversary, the cleric canvassed for the restructuring of Nigeria as the panacea for peaceful coexistence and unity among the several ethnic groups. According to him, restructuring is the safest and most morally upright approach to solving the multiple problems facing Nigeria. He also called on Igbo leaders to eschew selfishness and work for common good of the people, as the quest for Igbo presidency is not the only means for achieving meaningful development in the region. Still on the call for restructuring, as the call for restructuring in Nigeria keeps increasing, an elder statesman, a former Minister of Information, Professor Jerry Garner, has lent his voice to that call, stressing that only true federalism will address the present crisis in the country. Speaking in an interview with Nwanne Ogechukwu in Abuja, he said that dismembering the country will not bring solution to the present crisis, but will instead lead to more crisis.
This is a very difficult time for the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and therefore is a time that leaders at various levels, both in society, in politics, in religion, and so on, we have to rise above the fray to find ways and means where we can find solutions that will bring peace. There has been a lot of injustice in Nigeria. Injustice in the use of power, injustice in the allocation of resources, injustice in so many dimensions. And what we are now seeing, the reactions of people against injustice, especially a situation whereby a government comes into office and gives the impression that they are protecting the interests of a particular people. No federal government should ever do that. A federal government is for all Nigerians. The state governments are for all those who are in that. You have to be for everybody. If the basic thing that government should do for us, if they are not able to fix our roads, if they are not able to fix power, if they are not able to fix, if they are not able to fix the economy, if the prices of certain things that we have are going up and we can't, at least can't they guarantee peace and security? If they cannot do that, people are not saying, hey, is there another way? But in this situation in Nigeria, my own position is that the federal structure properly organized is the best way out. You want to dismember Nigeria so that people go their own way, there will be so much crisis.
You're still watching the news on the hour. And coming up, FIFA clears former Germany captain to play for Super Eagles ahead of friendly matches with Nigeria and Tunisia. Details and even more after this break. Kindly stay tuned.
The word of God is God's instrument for deliverance. The Bible said in Psalm chapter 107 verse 20 that he sent forth his word and he led them from every destruction. All men that were of great generational impact were men who encountered God via the word. In this age of shallow Christianity, where many are no longer committed to discipleship, we need the word of God in order not to be tossed to and fro by every wind of doctrine. For true Christian growth and maturity, there is no substitute for the word. Little wonder St. Paul wrote to the church in Colossians and said, let the word of God dwell richly amongst you. The word of God is God. The Bible said in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. Join me and other men of God on Big Station Weekly as we learn at the feet of Jesus. God bless you.
Thank you for staying tuned. If you are just joining us on Acnn, for more on our top stories, please visit our website at acnntv.com or our social media platforms on facebook.com or youtube.com/ACNNTV. To be up to date with our news and other programs, download the VM Africa app from Android and iOS stores. And you can also advertise your goods and services on ACNN TV. Professor Timothy Adebayo, a former Deputy Vice Chancellor of Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomoso, has assumed duty as Vice-Chancellor of Ajayi University, Oyo. Adebayo, who was appointed by the Governing Council of the university after its meeting on September 14th, under the leadership of Chief Wole Olanipekunsan, the new Vice-Chancellor assumed duty on October 2nd, 2020, as the fourth Vice-Chancellor of the university, after the expiration of the tenure of the Right Reverend Professor Dakpo Asaju. Professor Adebayo holds a Bachelor of Agriculture, Plant Science from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, in 1988, MSc Plant Science in 1992, and obtained his doctorate in entomology from Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomosho, in 2003, and has held several administrative and managerial positions. Adebayo, in his inaugural speech at a welcome service held at St. Andrew's Chapel in the university, promised to reposition the institution, noting that the university will be relevant both nationally and internationally through the vigorous pursuit of the vision of the university, and further stated that he will develop a roadmap to rebrand and expand infrastructure on her campuses. On the dilapidated road following the resumption of students of the university, Professor Timothy Adebayo appealed to the concerned authorities to urgently repair bad portions of the Oyo-Ogbomosho road, stating that the student and other road users have had harrowing experiences plying the road. The service was attended by principal officers of the university, deans of faculties, staff, clergy, including the Home Bishop of the Vice-Chancellor, his wife, and many friends and well-wishers. The Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, the Most Reverend Dr. Stephen Samuel Kazimba, has launched a campaign dubbed Plastic Kevera Free Places of Worship from his palace gardens in Namirembe. This campaign by Church of Uganda is supported by Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF, a global conservation organization to support government efforts of reducing environmental degradation. This will see believers rallied to stop carrying kevira not only in places of worship, but in their daily lives. Believers will also be rallied to avoid the use of single-use plastics. When going to places of worship, they will be encouraged to carry water bottles as opposed to single-use plastics, which again end up in our environment. Lastly, all places of worship will be rallied to plant at least 2 indigenous fruit trees. Church of Uganda believes that to secure the future of humanity, there should be urgent, decisive global action to bend the curve on devastating nature loss. At the launch of the campaign, WWF was represented by Mr. David Dooley, its country director. On the Nigerian education, the payment of stipends to Bachelor of Education students, as well as granting them automatic employment after graduation, is now a federal government policy. The Minister of Education, Adamu, has said. He said this in Abuja at the commemoration of the World Teachers' Day. President Muhammadu Buhari has also approved a special salary scale for teachers in the country and also increased the number of years of service from 35 to 40. The Education Minister, Mr. Adamu, who represented President Buhari, said the implementation of the new salary scheme was to encourage teachers in delivering better service, saying that teachers have the power to shape and reshape the lives of young people and help learners to enhance their potentials. Mr. Buhari also said his administration has resolved that quality education of teachers in terms of engagement of continued professional development has to be given priority. And moving on to the world of sports, former Germany under-20 captain and Hoffenheim defender Kevin Akpoguma, who is already in the camp of the Super Eagles ahead of Nigeria's friendly match against Algeria, has been cleared by FIFA to represent Nigeria. This was made known by the NFF president, Amaju Melvin Pinnick, when he was talking to media officers about the future of the 25-year-old. Akpoguma wore the German colours against the Flying Eagles of Nigeria at the 2015 FIFA Under-20 World Cup and was European team captain to that tournament. Kevin Ufuoma Akpoguma was born to a German mother and a Nigerian father. He has represented the Germany under 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 and 21 teams, featuring over nation. The defender has been with Bundesliga side Hoffenheim for 5 years now and made 18 league appearances for the club last season. Argentina captain Lionel Messi has said he wants to fire his country to World Cup glory in Qatar. Messi admits that the next tournament will probably be his last to win the trophy that has eluded him throughout his career. The 33-year-old, a 6-time Ballon d'Or winner, has won everything in the club game with Barcelona several times over, but his international trophy cabinet remains empty. The closest Messi has come to winning the World Cup was a losing finalist against Germany in 2014. Thursday's clash with Ecuador gives him the chance to start building towards one last hit at that goal. Argentina will then travel to Bolivia next Tuesday. You're still watching the news on the hour. A reminder of our major stories. Anglican Diocese of Niger West seeks intervention for flood victims in Anambra East. Professor Timothy Adebayo, a former Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomoso, assumes duty as Vice-Chancellor of Ajayi Crowther University, Oyo. Archbishop Kazimba of the Anglican Church of Uganda launches a campaign dubbed 3 Pieces of Worship. Plus, the Nigerian Minister of Education announces graduates and students to get automatic employment and stipends. And so that's it on the news. I want to thank you so much for watching. I am Phoebe Igimayu.
Beaming from the nation's capital, we bring to you the good news